Welcome to Ready, Set, Record! Getting started with video production projects in elementary school. And as I've been saying, even if you're not an elementary school teacher, you can still watch this, you can still get the information and modify. If we do anything well as educators, we know how to modify for our students. So who am I, you may say? Hello. I'm Dr. Desiree Alexander. I'm the founder CEO of Educator Alexander Consulting, and I am going to be your host for today. These are all of the different ways you can contact me. If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, thank you and welcome. Remember to click that thumbs up button to like and subscribe to the channel. No, you don't get a certificate for watching this, but you do get the knowledge. Also, go right underneath the video in the description and you will see the resource for today. Do not miss out on this resource. So definitely go to that website, throw that email address in and get that resource. You will not be disappointed. I got mine. I was like, whoop, whoop. So get yours. Okay, what do we have coming up next? We have no more webinars for May. So get your webinar feel with this one. Then in June, ISTE conference. So if you're going to the ISTE conference, definitely check me out. I will be there doing different sessions. This list usually grows, so I'm guessing it will grow. But for now, these are the sessions that I'll be doing. Definitely come check me out. I would love to meet you. And then we have July 13th, Library Collaboration, Leadership, and Mentoring with our resident librarian, Tanya J. Haynes. And then we have whole book approach with picture books. I know when I taught middle school and high school, I used picture books all the time. So how do you use picture books in different grade levels? How do you use them for the whole book approach with Jane? Can't wait for that one. Then we have Level Up, Career Moves in Librarianship. Again, Tanya J. Haynes is coming on back and talking about how do you level up your career in librarianship. So as of now, those are the three we have, but we are building. We have so many coming in right now. We are building for the summer and building for the fall. So I cannot wait for you to see even more webinars coming up. We always have our self-paced online classes for Google certification, test prep, educational leadership, test prep, talking to me about different things. So we always have our self-paced courses online that you can get to at any time. And then, of course, tell me what you want to learn, or tell me what you want to present. So definitely let me know. This is how we get all of these amazing webinars. We try to do at least one per month if we can. But that's how we get them all, is by people like you saying, you know what, I want to share. I don't care if you're a first-time presenter or you're a present on international stages. You can come and share your knowledge with EA webinars. Woo! I know that was a lot, but you can get all of that at edalex.net. So I know I'm ready to talk about video production. I know you're ready to talk about video production. So let's go ahead and talk about some video production.
Hello. Welcome to the room where it happens. Well, a Hamilton reference. My name is Charell Milton, and thank you for joining me today for the video production projects in elementary, middle school, high school, college, with your own children at home. My goal here is to get you excited about starting with video production projects. So we are going to start here. So my name, again, Charell Milton. I'm an international educator. I have experience as an instructional coach and a technology specialist. Currently, I am in Atlanta, Georgia. I have interwoven all of my passions into being a technology empowerment coach. That is why I'm here today, to show you that you can be empowered to use technology and be tech savvy in the classroom with little to no experience, and your students will get lots from it as well. So please make sure that you sign up for the Tech Empowerment newsletter at my website, CharellMilton.com, as well as follow my classroom adventures at Miss Milton's Memoirs on Instagram. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to start off with this quote from George Couros. I got a chance to hear him speak at a technology conference this last fall. And it's just a beautiful quote. Technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. So today I'd like to invite you to think through how we can transform our students' lives through creativity, through the implementation of video production projects. How can we harness the power of storytelling and video production to not only ignite imagination, but also to foster collaboration, communication, and self-expression? I would love to kick off our discussion today by sharing a scene from a movie. Anyone who saw Aquila and the Bee, it's a beautiful story. It came out about 2005, which was some years ago, but I remember this particular scene because it has a quote that I found to be particularly powerful, where the main character, Aquila, she reflects on a quote by Marianne Williamson, and it speaks to the essence of overcoming fear and embracing your potential. So let's take a moment to watch. Wow, what an inspiring moment. So Aquila's journey and Marianne Williamson's words, they remind us of the importance of courage and self-belief in the face of challenges. So I have two questions on the screen here, and I would love for you to reflect in the chat. Question one, how does this scene and quote resonate with your own experiences as educators and parents? Two, how might it relate to the journey of fostering creativity and self-expression in your students or in your children, if you're a parent here joining us today? I would love for you to reflect on that in the chat. I know that for myself, we have an incredible opportunity as educators to foster the creativity in our students. And it's exciting for me to think about holding a mirror up for a child and letting them see themselves, letting them see the possibilities that could be for them. And video production, letting students see themselves on camera, being confident with seeing themselves and hearing their own voices is such a powerful thing at any age. So I would love to hear some thoughts in the chat if you have the ability to type in just your thoughts from that quote. I love that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but is that we are powerful beyond measure. So I love that Dr. Desiree said, I think that this is also our fears as an adult and as teachers too. Very true. It's very important for us to recognize, that fear within ourselves and push through that because our children, our students are watching us, and we all can grow. Thank you so much, Lindley. I hope I'm saying that right. With what I see on social media, she says the standards of excellence are so high. I would like, it's hard to imagine that I have the ability to be as creative, as funny, as interesting as other people. And I think it's important for us to recognize that you can be as creative and as funny and as interesting as yourself, and that is good enough. That is great on its own, and our students will see that. We have the ability to empower our students. So I would love to hear more thoughts in the chat. I'm going to continue on, but I would love to hear more of your thoughts on that, on this beautiful quote. And also go back and watch Aquila and the Bee if you haven't seen it in a while. It's truly inspirational. Okay. Oh, yes, thank you. Being afraid to fail will stop us from being creative. Just do it. Absolutely. Just get out there and start. And that's why the name of this presentation was Getting Started, because that is the biggest, I'm going the wrong way. One of the biggest things that can often hinder us, can stop us. So just get started. It may not be perfect from the first time, but it will be exceptional because you tried, you started it. So the why here is creativity, right? Inspiration, brainstorming, challenges, knowledge, motivation, innovation, right? The why here is creativity. And I love that Dr. Desiree said it's on both ends, right? It's us as teachers, educators, parents, as well as fostering that in our students. I have another quote from Amber. Thank you. She says, I think this is an excellent quotation to explore and make text to life connections with as teachers and students are impacted alike. Many of us feel inadequate, though we are incredibly powerful. Now is our time. I love that. Put that on the t-shirt. Now is our time. Thank you so much. We have one more here. I agree. For me, it's about creating the space for students to explore creating by using technology. I know I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. I know they do it on some level outside of the classroom, but creating an opportunity to learn and refine those skills in the classroom. Absolutely, that is key. Thank you for those of you who are responding. Continue to send your thoughts through. That's meaningful. All right. So why video production? Because integrating video production into the classroom, it's a natural extension of storytelling and allowing students to bring their stories to life through multimedia platforms. So in the story, Akila, she had to see herself being able to start and finish a whole spelling bee competition. And that took not only her believing in herself, but also having an adult there. So video production, just like Jasmine said in the chat, it allows us to be able to create that space for students to explore on their own. Some of the benefits of video production here, again, we've talked about student creativity already. Voice and choice is important because how many of us know that there is no one size fits all for education or for people in general? So giving our students the opportunity to share in the learning process can lead to increased engagement and ownership. Then we have collaboration, right? Working together. These video production projects can promote teamwork and communication skills because students are working together for a common goal. There's a sense of community and a shared responsibility when students are working together. And that's very important. We're talking about these soft skills, perseverance, grit for students to, they're learning not only the content in our classrooms, right, but they're learning how to be people, productive members of society. And how can we give them opportunities to explore themselves in a safe space so that they can then carry that on into the world. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have problem solving as a benefit. It requires students to think critically, make decisions throughout the creative process. It enhances their cognitive skills. And one of my personal favorites, it provides students with the real world situations. They have to problem solve working together. They may not particularly like the person on their team, but they have to work together for a common goal, right? It prepares them for future challenges. Oops. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty here, the video production process. At its simplest form, there are 4 steps. So we're gonna start off with scripting, and that is where students are writing down or audio recording, what are they gonna say in their videos? Then we have the storyboarding, right? Usually there are different scenes in your video or your movie, your film. So what does that look like? That's where you're going to pick background images and things like that. Students can create their own, or they can AI generated backgrounds. They can find some online, right? We're putting it together piece by piece. Then comes the filming, right? There's certain tools that we need to put the videos together. And lastly, editing. That is the process where we're working together to delete scenes, add scenes, adding transitions and images throughout the video. So all of these work together to create the video. Okay, so the name of this webinar is Ready, Set, Record. Ready, Set, Record. So we are going to go through the process quickly and in such a way that I hope that you will see that you can definitely get started on a video production project with your students, with your child today. You can do some of these activities with your children today, next week in the classroom. So yes, it's May. Yes, we're at the end of the school year, but you definitely can do some of these projects. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get ready first. How do I find a project idea? If you don't already, which we all most likely do, we have a professional or personal learning network. This is where we go to find information about our profession, right? Online educator communities, Pinterest, social media, YouTube, educational communities. These are all places where you can go to find projects. Find out what other people are doing as it relates to creating videos and movie making in the classroom. Once you get there, then you might think, okay, what exactly are my students going to do? And I love this meme by Oprah Winfrey. If you remember years ago on her show, she would, you get a car, you get a car, you everybody get a car. Remember? Uh, so I have this, you get an idea, you get an idea, everybody gets an idea because you literally can take any content standard, any strategy, and make a movie out of it. And you are fostering that same process of creativity, collaboration, voice and choice, and problem solving with your students. So here's a list of ideas. Maybe you want to do a book trailer, a PSA. These are more probably upper elementary, middle school, high school. In the younger grades, I've done as an exit ticket, right? So we've learned something that day, and then they had to create a quick video through an app called Chatterpix, which is very easy to use. In the kindergarten classroom, I used it all the way up to fifth, sixth grade. And it's just a way for students to express themselves and creatively, but also as an assessment strategy. So I have this list of ideas here. All right. Hot tip planning. I would recommend that you start by backwards planning. So let's go through the process. We have an idea. Then we are now in the process. Okay, I know what I want my students to do. What do I do now? I would recommend that you start backwards planning your dates, right? When are you going to film? When are you going to edit? When do you want that final project due? What tools are you going to use? And then when is the watch party? Always a fave. You can't create the video and not watch it. I usually make a big deal about it and, invite other classes to join and watch our created videos, or invite the principal, because students are usually proud to show all of their hard work. I also recommend creating a sample project so that you know exactly how it's going to go, and then gathering your tools and resources. What app are you going to use? Will it require a green screen? Will you need a mic? But I want to preface this by saying you can start anywhere, which is why this is getting started. I'm saying you can start here, but here are all the ways that you can increase your project. But be aware that you can start anywhere and you don't have to have all the materials. Anyone can do this. So here's some apps to recommend. Going from left to right, this is, if I would to give this image a level, I would say from left to right, level 1, all the way up to level 4 or 5, right? Level 1 is that beginning level. If you want to download an app and make a movie today, I would start with Chatterpix. You could do that with your kids. Then move on over to green screen. Then Canva. Canva has a really good video editing software that doesn't require a lot of the technical aspects to it, and it's the user interface is really easy for students to use, for us as educators to learn as well. Then I would move over to iMovie and things like Clipchamp if you don't use Apple products, but Clipchamp is through Microsoft. Both of them are pretty in-depth editing software programs. There is one that I didn't list here, but I know that the kids are using them now. I know my middle schoolers that I work with are using CapCut. A lot of Instagram, TikTok, all the social media reels students are using. Because it's an app on their phone, a lot of students have prior experience to it. You could download it on the app, on an app or a phone, and edit video that way. So we've gotten ready. Where are we? Walk with me now. We've decided on a project. We figured out what resources, we've planned our dates, we know what tools we're going to use, right? Now it's time to get the students involved. Now that you have a plan, let's make sure our students have one as well. So what comes next? We're going to make sure that our students know how to implement the process, remember the video production process, of scripting and storyboarding. So you want to get them excited about the video that they're going to create. How does that look? The scripting part is what students will say. Younger students, you might want to use sentence frames, repetition. For older students, think about the voice, the tone, the purpose. This is a great way to implement ELA reading, writing standards into your project, right? So this is a interdisciplinary project. You might want to think about whether or not students are going to make their script as an individual, in partners, or in a small group. These are things you want to think through prior, of course, but then as you are explaining it to students, you're giving them the opportunity to script. Once they've scripted, the students love choosing their backgrounds. We're going to call this the storyboarding, right? So think of it like we have the puzzle, right? You as the educator, you have the picture of the puzzle. What is it supposed to look like? But then you have all these pieces. You are asking students to take all the pieces and lay them out so we can see them and kind of order them so we know, okay, what is our project going to look like? So the storyboarding, you might want to use a graphic organizer. You would think about your video in terms of scenes. What will each section of the video look like? We're going to think about background images. You can either download or create your own. Canva, again, they're not paying me. It's not sponsored, but it could be. Canva is a great resource because they have Creative Commons images to use that are free. Educators get a free Canva account. So with the storyboarding, we have the scripting, storyboarding. So let's see what it looks like as in the classroom. So on the left, again, left to right, we're going from level 1, like the primary students, up till middle school, high school, adults, right? So over on this side, this is a scripting for a science project. These are first grade, kindergarten or first grade students. They were learning about animal defenses, right? So animals have, porcupines have little spikes, and certain animals have claws, right? All of these things help animals protect themselves. So students had to create an animal. And so here's the student drew it out, and then they took clay and this one toothpicks to create what their animal would look like. So writing it out, drawing it out can be scripting for the younger students, right? When we go into upper elementary, middle school, high school, and so on, we want to think through. Down here, we have a story arc where we have the rising action, the climax, the falling action, the solution. We have how we can picture our students writing their storyboard throughout here. What is scene 1 looking like? What is scene 2, scene 3, and so on and so forth. These two are an example. The students, this is one project where students were completing they read the book Ground Zero, and it is about 9/11. And so the students had to tell the story of Ground Zero from the student's point of view. And so the story was of a student named Brandon. And so the students wrote it out here on the story arc, and then took their arc and created it into scenes. So this helps students visualize what it might look like. So they found background pictures. In this case, we used Canva to lay it all out. So I wanted to show this to you to show you that there are different ways that you can level up your scripting and storyboarding depending on the ages that you are teaching. Pro tip, if you would like to find background images for my younger students, Kiddle.co and KidSearch are basically search engines that are filtered for student-friendly images. Unsplash is one probably for older students. And then again, Canva. Canva has generated images, but they also have AI generated images. There's one called text to image that I will show you in a second. And that is a good way to have students really get their creativity out there. They can type in, oh, I want it to look like this, and then AI can generate it for them. So I want to ask you to begin with the end in mind and think about your, ask your students, excuse me, to think about their images that they want in the background. All right, so let's keep it going. Let's review. We got a plan. We thought it out. We backwards planned our dates. We figured out what tools we're going to use and what apps. Then we introduced it to students, right? I'm presupposing that you already taught the content. I feel like that goes without saying, but just in case. We have our plan. We introduced it to students. Now the students have created their script. They have created their storyboard. They are ready to record, which is the fun part. Recording day, filming day is, I mean, word travels fast through the school on filming day, because I usually will bring out the big green screen, and I got the little mics and things like that, and it's a thing. So shooting day, there are some practices I want you to think to yourself. It may not go perfectly, but the kids will have fun. Think that you're being creative. Think about that that quote from earlier in the webinar, right? Our deepest fear is that we're powerful. What is it? Powerful beyond measure, right? So our students are powerful beyond measure. So how can we give them the opportunity to explore that? Practice patience, assign roles. Everyone will want to play all the roles because ego and kids. So assign roles. Who is filming this scene? Who is holding the mic? Who is making sure that the green screen is up properly placed and that everyone is in front of the green screen, right? If at first you don't succeed, keep going, try it again. I remember shooting a whole film, a whole recording, and the students had messed up and they said, oh, stop, Miss Milton, we want to record again. And then I said, okay. So they recorded it, they recorded again, but I apparently didn't press, after I pressed pause, I didn't press record again. So they ended up doing their whole scene, and then we went back to the camera and it wasn't there. So it happens. Just keep going. We told the students things happen, and we went back, started all over again, and it was fine. So I have some images to show you about filming day. Over here at the top, I would love to attract your attention to, here are the things that are necessary. You obviously want to have something to film, whether it be an iPhone and a tripod, or Android, a phone, or an iPad. Both of them are necessary. What is helpful is a green screen. It just makes it so that you can change the background images. It is helpful, not necessary. Optional, right? The lighting, the mics, the lapel mics, so that's the ones that are that hang on the student shirts. Again, optional. Helpful, not necessary. We do want to have something to record. All right. So then here are a couple different apps I want to highlight today with the time that we have left. One is an app called Chatterpix that I talked about before. So if you remember, I talked about that student that created the animal defenses, right? So you saw it was a color and it had, it was in color. They drew it and then it had the little toothpicks. So that student then took it and created it. Then we added a background in front of it. So this is a picture of them putting their animal in front of a background. And then they recorded themselves speaking as if they were that animal, okay? That is one aspect, that is Chatterpix, and I'm gonna show you that one, how easy it is to create that one. And then the green screen over here was where this is filming day. The students stood in front. They it's a layered approach. So the students chose their background and then layered the background, the green screen video, I think you can see it at the bottom, and then added any sort of images they wanted to add the picture together. Over on the right here is a picture of me. I was creating an example project to show them in iMovie and how we can put different scenes together. So if we're talking about in levels, level 1, let's go with the chatter pics over here. That's easy. You can be done within a minute. Level 2 is green screen, takes a little bit more effort. Like preparation, I should say, not effort, but preparation, as in getting the green screen up. I don't know if I said this, by the way, but the green screen, yes, they have these fancy ones, but you can definitely use a green sheet from like Amazon, Walmart, Target. Long as it is green, it should work. Fun fact, definitely use a green sheet, like bedding sheet. And then, so iMovie, I got sidetracked, excuse me. And then over here at the top are students editing on the iPad. So this is kind of what the filming and editing section looks like. And I would love to show you a couple student projects before we get into the demo. So this picture is of students using the green screen app. It is called Do Ink. It's this one with the little octopus at the bottom here. And the students were researching notable figures. These are 2 students who were researching Mae Jemison, and I thought this was a beautiful project. They were first grade students, and you can see this student right here brought in a astronaut helmet for his filming day. They drew this picture and like cut out the circles of like so that their faces could fit in here. This was actually, it took some forethought because when we went to layer the screen in green screen, when we went to layer the image and the video, we had to get it just right. So I'm going to show you this to show you what it could look like. And this is first grade. Uh-oh. Excuse me.
Action. My name is Ari Curtail.
My name is Bradley Behrman.
Our person is Mae Jemison.
She was born on October 17, 1956.
She made her own rocket out of cardboard boxes.
Her teacher didn't think she would be a better nurse.
On September 12, 1992, she finally went into space.
She was the first African American woman in space.
She was brave for going into space and had lots of courage because it is dangerous to do so.
She also had lots of perseverance during training to go into space.
All right. So I see in the chat, I love Do Ink. Yes, Do Ink is so fun because it really does everything for you. Get you a green screen, a green sheet, or a green screen from, they have the pop-up ones on Amazon. Put it up, record your video, decide on the background, and let the app do the work. So that is an example of green screen with Do Ink. And then, excuse me. This is a student project that took green screen. So they recorded different scenes on green screen on the Do Ink app, and then we put them together in iMovie. So these are third graders, and they were doing, and we call them 13 Colonies commercials. So they were studying the 13 colonies, and they had to take on the position of one of the colonies and like make a commercial getting people to want to visit their colonies.
We are the Middle Colonies. We are known as the Quakers. We are also known as being honest and hardworking.
Are you tired of searching thousands of miles to find water? Well, your problem is fixed. Step outside and there's a big river.
here for the Middle Colonies Weather Report.
Weather report, the Middle Colonies weather report.
Today we have sunny skies, but not too hot, not too cold weather. That is the Middle Colonies Weather Report.
Weather report, the Middle Colonies weather report.
You know what else we got? Corn! A big lump with knobs. It has juice, it has juice. Can't imagine a more beautiful thing. Woo! It's corn. I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. When I tried it with butter, everything changed.
We got trees. That means we got wood. That means we got ships. That means we got fishies. We got trees. That means we got wood. That means we got ships. That means we got fishies.
So I love showing this video to anyone who will listen because it is such a great example of how you can really allow students to just run with it, right? And let their personality shine. I mean, come on, the student popping out of the corn, that is gold. The student who had the purple dress on, she is one that in the classroom is usually pretty quiet. She's talkative and everything with her friends, but she's usually pretty quiet. And to see her come out, her personality come out and thrive during this was really, really exciting to witness. So that is a testament to the creativity that can happen with video production projects. All right. So we've talked about we've talked about Chatterpix. And lastly, this is one, there's no sound here, but this is a digital storytelling project with 5th and 6th graders. And this was all done on Canva with all of the free background images and free videos. So I'm going to play a little bit of this one. You see how they put it together. They had to retell the story of the Ground Zero by Alan Gratz, I believe. So you can see how they kind of put it together there. All right, so I do, with a few minutes left, want to show you how easy it could be to create your own video. So I'm going to share my screen on my iPad. All right, so we are here. The first one I want to show you is, oh, yeah, I did it. Chatterpix.
Duck, moose.
All right. So Chatterpix looks like...
Welcome to Chatterpix.
Super easy. I have my favorite, remind me later. I have my favorite cup here that I got from my mother for my birthday. And I'm going to make my cup talk. That is the Chatterpix app that you can do lots of things with. So you're going to go to take a photo. And I'm going to take an image here. The easy part is you are going to draw a mouth on your photo, on your, whatever the item is. All right, so I'm gonna make me a little mouth here like this. Oh, it's a little lopsided. Let's try that again. There we go. And then you get 30 seconds to record. That's how simple it is. The student takes a picture, they draw a mouth, and then they record. Thank you, Mommy, for this beautiful cup. Charell loves using it during school time. All right. And then when you play it, let's see, did that work? Oh, come on. Okay, so I will show you a different example. I don't know why that didn't work. Oh, wait, so here's one that I tried last night.
Is tension always there?
So you can see how it's supposed to look. There we go.
My name is Shazam the Sphere. I'm round and I roll around. I have no sides, so I just keep rolling and rolling and rolling.
All right, so that is an example of how you could use ChatterPix. This was when I was demonstrating the app to kindergarten classroom. They had to use the different 3D shapes and tell me aspects of the 3D shapes by creating a little shape character. So that is how fast you can use ChatterPix. The last one that I want to show you today is the green screen, and that's the one with the octopus there. So I'm going to just show you one of the ones that I created here for students. I was showing them about how I used to live in Panama. So you can see all I did was on the top part in my office at work, I recorded myself with the green screen background and I uploaded it. So I pressed the plus sign and pressed videos and uploaded it. Then I went to the second layer here and added a picture, right? So then together, when you go to play it, I guess I can't play it on the app. All right, I'm gonna just stop. So those were two examples of how quickly you can share with your students and get started on a video production project fairly simply and fast. I highly recommend starting with ChatterPix or green screen. ChatterPix is free. It will look like this on the app, and then green screen, I believe, is $4. But it is, once you pay it, you have it for forever. I've had the green screen app for like 5 years now. So I believe it's well worth I think it's $4.99, so $5 you would spend with that. Thank you all so much for joining me today as I shared a little bit about video production in the classroom. I would love to give some space, a little bit of time here for any questions that you might have. Please feel free to type it in the chat, or we will see if we can raise your hand and maybe unmute you. But I would love to see if there are any questions about implementing video production into the classroom or getting started with it. How many days or how much classroom time do you plan to complete a project on average? It depends on the project, obviously. So with something like ChatterPix, I did that in I had a 30-minute technology session with 18 kindergartners, and I had about 9 iPads. So the ChatterPix was the one with the cup or the little ball, the sphere ball. So that was a one session because it didn't take as much. We didn't do kind of the full video production process. I wanted them to get used to hearing their voices on camera, which was quite a fun. I would say think of the time for content, but also the time for learning the tool. So when we did the green screen app, before we did the one about Mae Jemison, before they created that project, I did a quick 2-day, like, what is green screen? So we had an example of like green screen in the movies. So all of those Marvel movies and everything, they're not really, when they're running or flying, obviously they're not really flying. All of it is green screen. So we talked about that. That was like one day. And then that same day, I had them create a green screen. All they had to do was tell me what their favorite, I think, activity was. So they had to do 2 things. Find an image. So we use Kiddle.co with an image creation, image search. Find an image and then record themselves on the green screen. So that was probably another day before we got into, now let's script, what are you going to say about the content of, in this case, it was Mae Jemison. So they were doing historical figures in 1st grade. So I hope that answers your question about 2 or 3 class sessions, depending. Just think that you want to implement or introduce the tool and then give them a chance. We call it sandbox time, a chance to play around with it a little bit. And so that'll cut down on them playing around when it's time to actually record the content. So if you're going to use the video for assessment purposes.
We have Jasmine on the mic.
Love.
Hello.
Hi.
So I have a couple of questions. So I know, well, first and foremost, does your school like the students have like their own devices? And so if so, are those apps already available, like readily available for them on their apps? Because I was just curious, like using, because I'm really curious on the Do Ink one or even just like Canva, but I know I'm just trying to think about how can I go about getting it accessible to the students because they have Chromebooks, they have MacBooks. So that way it's not like I'm not sure like if it's something that I would have to use on my device or if the students are going to use them on their device. I'm not sure how that would work if things are blocked from the district.
That's a great question. I will say that for the apps, so Chatterpix and Do Ink, I have only used them on an iPad or like on the phone. I've done it with a class where there was one or a class where there were maybe the students had one-to-one, everyone had an iPad. So definitely for that one. Canva, however, should be available, I believe. You do get a free Educator account and you can create classes in Canva. So I will generally create the class in Canva, have students log in. You can do you send them a link on Google Classroom or Teams or whatever your class uses, send them a link and then they all can log in. And so again, the same thing, I would show them, here's Canva. I wouldn't start with creating a video on Canva right away. I would just do maybe a poster, right? How do I insert an image? How do I insert a text? How do I make a transition between slides? That's a great place to start. What's beautiful about using Canva is that once students have the background of I've created a poster before in Canva, I've created a slideshow in Canva. Then when it comes to creating the video, it literally is just one or two extra steps. So I highly recommend Canva because it is so easy to use and because you don't have to think about like Creative Commons. As long as you limit students to using images from Canva, then your video would be good to go. Does that answer your question, Jasmine?
It does. It really does. Because I mean, well, okay. So here's another one with Canva. How can you incorporate like the collaboration piece in Canva if it's like a single sign-in use for each student?
Yeah, so students can sign in with their own account. So you would create your Educator account, and then when you go to, there's like a little gear shift at the top, you can go to settings, and then you can click create a class. So when you create a class, then it'll say, you give the students the link and they would sign in. We're a Microsoft school, so my students would click log in with Microsoft. Your students, if you're a Google school, they would log in with their Gmail account.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I'm having students collaborate on one project, like maybe three students per group, like how does that work? Because I know, because my first go-to would be Google Slides because they can easily share it and work at the same time. So how is that available in Canva as well?
It is. So the projects that they're doing is available. So as soon as and I can even show you, I can share this. Soon as they create a project, let me share this. Oops, I'm going to go to Canva because I think this is important. I'll show you this. This was actually the demonstration project I did when we were putting videos together. But when you click up here, this plus sign, you can actually input the students' email addresses. They can share it with each other as long as they're all in the same class that you created. So I've had students create their projects with 4 or 5 other students, and they're all editing the same, just like you would with Google Slides, which is why I say Canva is it has a really good user interface, because if I literally tell the kids, if you can do it in in Google Classroom, let's try that again. If you can do that in Google Slides, you can do it in Canva. Same thing for PowerPoint. So I actually, like I said, we're a Microsoft school, so I actually don't teach Google Slides, I teach PowerPoint. And I tell them, remember in PowerPoint how we inserted an image, how we made a transition? We're going to take that and apply that knowledge. And so this is actually why I think it's important for us as educators to think through how we're introducing these tools to students, because it's important for them to see that all of these things are connected, right? Technology isn't a singular focus. It's not one subject that stands by itself, right? It's interconnected, right? No subject is by itself, which that's another story. But yes, very, very, very good questions about the connection. Were there any more questions in the chat, Desiree, Dr. Desiree?
You have two. When recording, did you use more than one iPad?
We did use more than one iPad. My group, so that group of 4 had one iPad. Each group had their own. You could also, I've done it in years prior where I just set up the green screen in the hallway, and with one iPad, and when it was that group's turn to go record, I handed them the iPad and I said, go, you got 5 minutes to record, maybe longer, like 10, because of course they're going to spend the first 3 minutes arguing about who goes first and who does what, which is why we assign roles to kind of alleviate some of that. But very good question. You can do that with one iPad. Of course, it's going to take management of students and getting them used to it, which is why I say give time for students to play around with it first. So they get a little bit of that nuance of like, ooh, a new tool. They get a little bit of that out the way, so that they can kind of get down to business, ideally, a little faster. But ideally, you would have an iPad per group at least, but it can be done with one. Remember, we're getting started. So get started where you are. With one iPad, with just your phone, get started. Try one. And that other question, Dr. Desiree?
Yeah, the next question is, do you know if it's possible to use those apps or editing software on Chromebooks?
Okay, I'm not sure about that one. I do know that Canva will work on a Chromebook. And the
answer, it depends on what apps are allowed. So if the app is allowed to be downloaded, then you should be just fine using it on a Chromebook.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you. Love the collaboration.
If it's online, then yes, you can use it as long as it's not filtered from your district. But if it has to be an app, like I think Doing has to be an app, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
Chromebooks do download apps unless you have a really, really old Chromebook. So it should be fine depending on what your district allows.
Perfect. Thank you so much for clearing that up. I need to research a little bit more on Chromebooks. I would love, before we go, to say that the Ready, Set, Record resource pack is available on my website at charellmilton.com/resources. You just click on the link, and all I ask is that you subscribe to the newsletter. I won't spam you. You get one newsletter a month, and you can unsubscribe at any time. So the link is in the chat. It's also on the screen. So yes, Dr. Desiree, is there anything else today? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was really awesome. The fact that you went through like the why, then you went through the steps, like very much step by step. Then you even had time to go through some of the tools all in about 50 minutes. I mean, that kind of just blew my mind. I was like, okay, well, that was a full session in 50 minutes. I love it so much. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me again. Please feel free to reach out, charellmilton.com. I'd love to do some coaching, consulting. We can talk you through some of these projects. If you're like, hey, I just want to plan it out with someone else, I would love to be a sounding board. Also, feel free to follow my wonderful classroom adventures as an instructional technology specialist on @Miss Milton's Memoirs on Instagram. So I would love to see you. Thank you so much for having me. And don't forget to get ready and get started with your video production projects at any age.